probably a quarter of a mile into it, John wasn't having a fun time.
Oh, well, no, forget about it. That was the worst day I ever had in the mountains, period. And you know what? It was such an incredible crew. That was one of the most incredible crews I've ever climbed with. And, I got upslide just fine. And it wasn't until we started doing the side hilling that I began to struggle. Yep. And Joe, and I love Joe. The guy makes great wine. But he had told us we are going to all, because as you said, we split up into groups at different elevations. And we had agreed to meet at the rendezvous at 90 minutes. So I'm psychologically preparing myself for 90 minutes of side hilling.
Keep in mind, this is 90 minutes. I think it was like 1.2 miles.
Yes.
Yeah, no way. Okay, go ahead.
So, we didn't actually meet for 3.5 hours. So I was beyond exhausted. And I kept falling into holes. It was almost as if I was post-holing. It was almost like it was winter. I kept falling into these holes in the ground that were just covered with a layer of leaves. And I think you should remember, Stash, at one point I began falling down the mountain backwards. I was literally just tumbling down it, spitting all over myself. And I actually had enough time to think to myself, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. I'll fall off the mountain. It'll be fine.
I'll die eventually.
I'm just going to die.
Welcome to Inside the Line, the Catskills. This episode is brought to you by Scenic Route Guiding. If you're ready to hit the trails, make sure you take the scenic route. Our guides are here to help you with your goals, big or small. Check out the Scenic Route Guiding and Gear Rentals on Instagram and Facebook for more information. Also, if you mention the podcast, you can get 10% off. Use the code Mountain Lion. Mountain Lion. Mountain Lion. Welcome everybody to Inside the Line, the Catskills. I believe this is episode 27. I'm not quite sure, but I got my friend John here with me. John has been on many hikes. I've kind of guided him through many hikes together, just being a friend and being a kind of resource for information and stuff like that in the Catskills. So say hello, John.
Hello. Entertainment as well. I believe I've been there for entertainment.
That is correct. John and I hold so many different aspects of life together. We love the same comedy. We love the same TV shows. Basically, our whole hikes are basically quoting TV shows and movies.
Great.
What? Yes, hello. But tonight I have John on because this is kind of like a test to see if he might be my new co-host, because he's a very good speaker. He's a phenomenal speaker. He knows how to engage with people to get some good information out of people. He's probably a private investigator. I don't really know what he is. he's a weird dude, but John is here tonight.
So no pressure at all. Thank you.
No pressure at all, Jonathan. But he is here tonight to talk about some of the hikes we've been on. We have been on some crazy hikes. I have led John on some horrible hikes. Can you agree with that?
Yes. The bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Nice. So I have John on here to talk more about hiking, because I've been doing a lot of history, which is great. Catskills hold a great amount of history, but I need some more hiking stuff. And we're going to talk about a little bit of bushwhacking and into depths of what you should prepare for bushwhacking, because, spring is coming up and people are going to start bushwhacking before those damn nettles get out. So that's good. That is incredible. So I'd like to thank Scenic Route Guiding for being our sponsor. Thank you very much, Sarah, and your ladies. You guys have been doing an amazing job. Thank you very much. Thank you to our monthly subscribers, Katrina Weinig, Darren White, John Comiskey, Vicky Ferreira, and John C. Thank you so much, guys, for donating. It really warms my heart that you guys are doing this. So can't wait till the end of the year when we can donate stuff to a local organization. It would be awesome. So, John, what are you having to drink tonight, buddy?
Right now I have a gin and tonic.
Ooh, excellent. Where's the gym from?
The gin would be from wherever they manufacture Tanqueray.
Okay, okay. That sounds like hopefully it's Ukraine, not Russia. Oh,
Oh yeah, no, that already happened to me today.
what do you mean?
I bought a product from the Ukraine today. And I didn't realize it was from Ukraine, so they told me right away, pretty much, that they couldn't send it because they're in the middle of a war.
Interesting. That and what happened as a result?
They said that they would issue a refund in the next few days, but I responded and told them to just keep it for whatever they need. Didn't feel right asking for it back.
Wow, that's incredible, John. Very good humanitarian act right there. That was amazing. But yeah, I am having a good old rum and coke. I got home late from work and I had to work today. And it was a great day. We went up to Green to bowl. Found out that their place was occupied by a bunch of high school kids. So we went down and hiked at Shenango Lake, which was pretty neat, around like 1.5 miles of just walking around an easy lake. Then we went bowling down in Binghamton, which was awesome. Awesome place to bowl. I think it's called Ripix. If you're ever in the area, check it out. They have the big Lebowski on the side riding a unicorn.
Nice.
Greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'll post a picture of that. So John, you've been on any previous hikes in the past couple of weeks. How about we talk about that one hike you had up Plateau with me?
Oh,
It's okay, dude. There's no shame.
So that was my first and only mountain climb of 2022, and I didn't make it. I didn't summit. That's the first time I was unable to reach the summit.
But there's a reason though, right?
Yes, I had used. It was my first time using my new snowshoes, but I don't think that they were designed for going up the angle that we needed to go up. They definitely didn't have enough teeth on them either. So that was tough.
Yeah.
It was very tough.
I agree. So John and I pursued Plateau Mountain from Mid Hollow, which is a very short hike. It's around like maybe a little 4 miles, close to a little bit 3.5. But as if anybody's ever been up Plateau Mountain from Mid Hollow, it is super steep. It rises quickly right after you get to the junction. We started snowshoes right after we got to the junction, John's first snowshoes ever. And once again, you start wearing micro spikes, you think you're empowered to do anything in the world. It's incredible. John put on the snowshoes and he was just like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. We started hitting some good ice. It was gripping good, but then we started hitting one steep spot and John was slipping and I could not see John completing the rest of a hike. So I was like, I called it off. And then John, what happened after that when we went down the steep area? What did you have your first experience of what?
Are you talking about when I just slid down?
Yeah, it's called gliding.
Okay. That wasn't my first time. It was probably my first time with you.
Really?
But I had done that. I had done that before on Blackhead in the winter when I had climbed with Jeff.
Jeff.
And Jeff did not have the proper footwear. So it literally was the safest way to get down was to just sit and slide.
Nice.
If nothing else, it is fun.
Oh yeah, I agreed. So I was sitting there getting ready to slide myself, and then all of a sudden John flies down beside me and just keeps going and like just smashes into some snow. And luckily he's safe, but he looked back and was terrified as heck. But then he also was like laughing his ass off.
Well, there was a couple seconds there where I had zero control of stopping. So it was just kind of enjoying the ride. It was fun.
Yeah. Next time I got to teach you how to slow down with the snowshoes on. It's definitely, it's definitely a big risk on the steeper areas.
Well, you know what else? The mistake I made too was the first time I wore those snowshoes should not have been on a mountain. I should have been trying them out on level ground first.
That was also my fault too. You know, I should have realized the Plateau Mountain was a little steep, but I needed Plateau Mountain for my winter. So you gotta do it or not, right?
Yes.
But eventually I did go up Plateau the next week and I went up in crampons, trail crampons, and I went down in full crampons, complete ice. It was like an ice waterfall the whole time. Absolutely insane. I've never dealt with anything like that before. in the Catskills where I've had to put on my full crampons. John, thank you for the full crampons. They're not the greatest, but I'll take it. But it was definitely an awesome time. I had a great time. So previous hikes. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. What's the next hike you're going to go on? You're going to go on a hike with me sometime?
Yeah, I've got, well, next I'm probably going to be doing some spring Otsego Octet challenges. And then I do want to do the 2022 Fire Tower Challenge. But then, yeah, whatever we're going to be doing on Tuesdays.
So no Catskill news, except for I'm pretty sure this is going to air like 2 weeks from now. So spring is definitely coming. So I mean, keep your micro spikes in there because of the higher elevations. The steeper elevations will still have water and ice on it for the freeze overnight. So keep your micro spikes in there until completely, reports are of zero ice. Trust me, micro spikes, trail compounds, whatever. Just keep them in there. It's very helpful. It's very helpful. The rangers, very helpful for volunteers. So also, I got some other news, John. My friend Myra from the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference contacted me and wanted me to put out a little advertisement for them. And I'm going to do it right now. The New York, New Jersey Trail Conference is currently hiring for the upcoming 22 season for the AmeriCorps Trail Stewards. These trail stewards work in the Catskills, Minnewaska, and Lower Hudson Valley to help educate visitors on the park, regulations, hiker safety and preparedness, responsible use, and leave no trace to principles. In the Catskills, they're stationed at several summits, including Burroughs Range, which is Slide, Wittenberg, and Cornell, Giant Ledge and Panther, North Point, and the Blackhead Range. If you love the outdoors and want to protect it or know someone who's thinking about a career and environment, this is an excellent opportunity to give back to the parks and trails you love, while also gaining valuable experience. Some of the benefits include housing, a bi-weekly living stipend, wilderness first aid training, and more. Go to nynjtc.org/corpse-positions for more information to apply. Thank you very much, Myra. I am very happy to actually add that into any one of our podcasts because it's a very important position. Summit stewards help educate so much. Education is what we need right now. Definitely in the Catskills. We need anywhere in the United States at all. It's absolutely critical for education. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's what I'm doing ever since I started. I just want to educate people and hopefully steer people towards the right direction. And what not way to get paid for it on Summit Stewards when you're already trained and you're paid for helping people and giving people education, getting smiles, getting thank yous, and also enjoying the amazing views of Slide, Wittenberg, Cornell, Giant Ledge, Panther, North Point, and Blackheads. You cannot lose with those. There's views on every one of those except for Thomas Cole. That's what sucks. But still, you get amazing views and you get to educate the people, and the people will love you back. I almost have my drink. But yes, Myra, thank you very much. We will plug this into every episode until the Summit Stewards are come out, and hopefully somebody will apply. Thank you very much for sending me this, and I'm very happy to help out. Just as long as the New York Trail Conference shares this, they need to start sharing this. I need to get famous, right, John?
You do. Same here.
All right. So I really don't have any Catskills history right now. I didn't prepare for this. This was a last minute thing. So John and I jumped on in the last minute and just decided to talk about our experiences with basically bushwhacking, because I've led John on some horrendous bushwhacks, right?
Yes.
It is. So John, I've done John. I told John, oh yeah, it's only 6 miles. It's only 7-8 miles, but they were treacherous. 6.
Yeah, that's
8.
usually how it goes.
Anytime. So we're going to talk about our previous experiences with bushwhacking. First off, we're going to start off with what you should bring for bushwhacking, what you should wear. Now, a lot of the times, of course, I started out as a rookie and I wore khakis as a beginner's apparel, khakis and moisture wicking shirt. But I think I wore khakis because they had a lot of pockets. I think so. That would be a good area to start, I guess. But moisture wicking material is great. It's perfect. I also, John, how much did I over prepare for everything?
Well, that you do, but that makes me feel better because it's almost like climbing with a doctor. You're ready to go. Like you're ready to go for surgery out there if you have to be.
That's true. I do. I carry at least 3 to 4 liters of water. I have food for throughout the whole day, maybe even extended longer. I have a bag of M&Ms that are probably like 2 pounds. I have Sour Patch Kids. I have Skittles. I have several, snacks and stuff like that for people, in case I encounter on the live. But I also have, my first aid kit, which is not light at all. It's absolutely insane. But, I'm prepared for anything and everything. The one thing I don't wear is gaiters. John, you don't have any gaiters, do you yet?
I don't. I do have some on my Amazon wish list, but I have not got them yet.
I think gaiters are for wusses.
I think they would have been helpful on the Cater Skill High Peak when we went summer, but other than that,
Or Rusk. Remember Rusk?
Rusk, yeah, that too.
All right, we'll talk about Rusk and Catterskill High Peak later. Definitely. Oh man. Oh, you forgot about Catterskill High Peak. Oh man.
It wasn't a bushwhack, but we could have used gators.
It was a bushwhack on the way down.
That's true. Yes.
Okay.
We did. We took an alternate route.
Absolutely. So yeah, a lot of water, a lot of snacks, especially for bushwhacks. You never know when you're going up. Navigational use devices, at least GPS. Your cell phone is not reliable. Remember that. Map and compass. Make sure you can use a map and compass. Check out some YouTube channels. There's several YouTube easy channels that'll teach you how to use a map and compass so easily. Like that's basically how I started off, was using easy, stupid YouTube channels where this guy teaches you the basic fundamentals of map and compass. It's really great. It's really educational. It's really easy. It's really like a 10-minute thing. It's incredible. So check that out, or get with your local, the Catskill 3500 Club. They have bushwhacks that people will teach you the GPS and or map and compass navigation, and it's very good. I've led John on actually all your bushwhacks almost, right?
Not all of them were horrendous. A lot of them were.
But all your bushwhacks I was involved with, right?
I think so. Well, isn't Fly a bushwhack?
It's kind of marked now with spray paint on the trees.
Then yes, I would say yes. I don't remember that though when I did it.
Well, you did it in like -5-degree weather with
it was on November 11th, 2017. It was absolutely freezing. And I'll never forget that because we met some kids at the top that were climbing without jackets, and they literally had a blue tint to their skin. It seemed very dangerous.
A little bit of hypothermia there, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially on Bear Pen, where I just had my couple of last episodes about how it catches the craziest weather in the Catskills. No problem at all. There's so much resources out there for this information, for this stuff, yet people don't use it. It's insane. But yeah, so once again, a lot of water, a lot of foods and a lot of snacks for energy, appropriate apparel, because if you go in the winter, of course, you'll need more apparel, layers / delayering, stuff like that. Top will be much more colder than the base. For summer, more water, of course, for the hotter times, maybe gaiters for the nettles. It's crazy that it's so much different from when I started in 2015. My first bushwhack ever was Rusk Mountain, and there wasn't any herd path at all, which is crazy to today, because now people can follow a herd path all the way up, and it's only been 6 years, 5-6 years, or 6-7 years. It's crazy. But you know what? Sooner or later, this was going to happen because of the popularity of hiking in the past couple of years, especially during the pandemic. Tonight, John and I are here to talk about our bushwhacking experiences, and that's the couple things I can suggest is food for energy, water for hydration, layers, and for the weather exposure, and map and compass, GPS, all the above. Basically, pack whatever you can. That's what I do basically. John knows that. I just my pack is super heavy. I mean, I'm ready for search and rescue when we're up there.
Yes, actually, the very first bushwhack that I ever did was with you and Travis. It was on October 11th, 2017. It was Rocky and Lone. That's
Yes.
what I started off with. And I packed 5 liters of water, wanting to be over prepared. And I actually was under prepared. I went through all 5 liters, and it's only one of 2 times I ran out of water.
So let's talk about that. So we'll talk about Lone and Rocky first. John's first bushwhack. And I asked him to go on Lone and Rocky with us because Travis and my friend Travis and I are going to finish the 3,500 on Rocky. And I'm just like, John, you should come with us. You started hiking with us a little while back, right? Or no?
Yes, a slide in February of 2016 was the first one.
So you did that, and I was just like, Lone and Rocky, it's easy. It's easy with quotation marks. So I was just like, come on with us. We'll go with that. Once again, this was what did you say? This was 2017?
Yes, October.
So 2017, I would say there was absolutely no herd paths until we got more to the top. I would say even Lone didn't have a herd path at the top when we looked for it. It took us a while to look for Lone, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So we got John's first ever bushwhack was crazy insane. We went up to Lone, summited, signed in, and then went down to the amazing viewpoint that faces over towards Table, Peakamoose, and the Peakamoose Valley. Oh, that was an autumn day, correct?
It was. Yep.
Oh.
It was gorgeous. And I think it was also one of the longest times I ever spent out there. We were there all day.
Yeah, that was at least 8 to 10 hour day.
At least.
Yeah. So we went over there. We went down to the viewpoint. Beautiful colors, actually. Variety of colors. Ashokan High Point was pointing out of there, and the lakes, the reservoirs and stuff like that. Beautiful. We went back, summited to the top, and then headed east towards Rocky. Hit some thick stuff. We went down the steep stuff, hit some thick stuff. I could barely see Travis 5 feet ahead of me.
That was the thickest brush I've ever seen in the Catskills. You were wearing pink that day. I remember you were wearing a pink shirt, and you, I think, were 3 feet in front of me. I couldn't see you.
Yeah, right. I wore pink so I wouldn't get shot.
Yep.
See, that was a Dave Chappelle quote. But we summited, saw the beautiful viewpoint on Rocky, and then I decided, this was my first time doing Lone and Rocky, and I decided that we should head down north to the Neversink and then head along the Neversink all the way back into Denning. And that was a dumb choice. It wasn't bad steep on the way down, but we hit some pretty crazy areas. The walk back along the Neversink was a pain in the ass because we had to crisscross at least 5 or 6 times.
That took forever.
And luckily, they have someone like me who has ADHD and just keeps talking all the time, correct?
Yes. Yes. It feels like an inhuman ability almost that you can do that. Because, and I feel bad because I when my lungs are hurting, I can't keep up talking. But that's how you always know when I'm starting to suffer, is when I get quiet.
Oh yeah. I'm sitting there, and then I being a good kind of like, I'm not saying I'm a guide, not a professional guide, just to let you know, being a good guide, I always talk to at least the people that are behind me. I was talking to Travis and talking to you, and you guys weren't saying a word. It was crazy.
Yeah, actually, at the end of Lone and Rocky, that was the first time I wanted to quit mountain climbing. It was the very first time I ever said that I ever called something a retirement hike.
But eventually we got some amazing shoots and stuff like that along the Neversink. Neversink is something else. What an amazing, beautiful, solid place of solitude that you cannot experience anywhere else in the Catskills. But we eventually got to the Denning crossover of the bridge, and we had that long 1 mile walk back to the parking area, which was quiet as heck.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody
No,
enjoyed that.
no, nobody could talk.
Was that? Oh no, that wasn't the time that Travis and I did table and Pikamoose, and there was a party. I'm gonna have to have Travis on here sometime. But yeah, that was a crazy bushwhack, and but an awesome bushwhack. That's when Travis and I finished our 3,500, number 2829 and 2830. So congratulations to Travis. I know he listens to this, but he doesn't hike anymore. So haha, Travis, you loser.
Oh man, where's Travis? Why isn't he climbing anymore?
It's called salary.
He's fun. He's fun to climb with.
He was a great. I had a great time climbing with
Me
him.
too.
It was fun. It was fun climbing with him. So
He joined us for my completion hike. So
yes, on plateau.
Very glad he did that.
Yeah, definitely. We had a good time. So another hike we'll get into. Let's talk about Balsam Cap from Pikamoose Road with Ralph, right?
Oh yes.
So buddy Ralph Reindeck. He is legend of the Catskills. If anybody's heard his name, if you haven't heard his name, then you don't know the Catskills, because he is a legend. He's been there all of his life. He has hiked everything in the Catskills, knows where everything is. Actually, the funny thing is I've led him to spots he hasn't seen before, which is cool. Some plane crashes and stuff like that. So it's a really big thing. But hiking with Ralph is an amazing time in life that you will never forget. The guy just sits there and talks about Catskills history, about his previous experiences, about anything and everything, and you're like in a Catskill wonderland.
When and I learned this pretty quickly. When you're climbing with Ralph, you're climbing with Catskill royalty. It is like it's an honor to do that.
Oh, of course.
Amazing times with Ralph.
Yeah. So we approached Balsam Cap. I wanted to see Balsam Cap from Pikamoose Road. It's definitely a different approach going from the Moonhaw.
Oh yeah, right.
Instead of approaching it from Moonhaw, we approached it from Pikamoose Road, and it's for the first maybe half a mile, it's following old woods roads, but after that, it's a complete bushwhack, and it's 100% bushwhack. But before you start hitting mini Balsam Cap, which we call mini Balsam Cap, some people call it mini cap. There's a lot of different names. No name cap. You hit a awesome spot where it looks like basically the glaciers scoured the area, and there's nothing but a bald area of little bushes and glacial erratics. It's absolutely stunning. John, you remember that part?
I do.
Ralph climbed on a rock and looked like a little tiny like flea on top of a huge, massive glacial erratic. And
yes,
smiles all over, man. That guy that never does not have fun when he's hiking.
He doesn't get tired, and he's mastered the pace. He's mastered pace. I hope to be able to do that someday.
Right. I mean, I'm crazy. I'm a psycho when I hike. You gotta admit, right?
Yes. Always in the lead.
But the thing is I want to get home as quick because we live an hour and a half away, so it stinks. But Ralph has mastered the pace. He has mastered basically the time organization he has with you. You know, he keeps it entertaining. So once again, we went up through these mini Balsam Caps and these flat glacial erratic areas that are scoured where you can see Balsam Cap. Absolutely stunning. We start to hit the steep areas, and I say to Ralph and John, I'm just like, hey, we should go over here. What did Ralph say, John?
So yeah, you were leading that hike. We had pretty much all agreed that you were going to be the hike leader, which was pretty impressive because you're climbing with royalty, but you are the hike leader. And yeah, basically every time Stosh said, okay, guys, we're going to go this way, Ralph would say like, oh, that's a good idea. Or we could go this way, right? And then we would end up going Ralph's way. And yeah, he pretty much did that every single time. And at one point, I think he actually said something along the lines of, hey, you're the hike leader, so you show us where you want to go, but you want to go this way, right? Oh, that was a good hike. That was the hike too, where I realized how elegantly Ralph falls. because
Oh
we
yeah.
all fall. Everybody in the Catskills falls at some point in time, but I've never seen anybody fall as elegantly as him. It's like it didn't even happen. He didn't
Yeah.
even acknowledge a fall. He was just talking through it. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
It was incredible. So we hit these steep areas, and once again, Ralph. He is I've never hiked with someone as just as legendary as him. You know, there's I mean, Jim Boughton, I've hiked with him. He is just as legendary. It's crazy how amazing he is in the Catskills. He knows his areas, and he's the man of the moon haul. That's what they call it. They should have named the moon haul after him. It should be Rhinedeck, you know, area or something like that. It is just all right. So we 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 could start climbing the steeps of Balsam Cap, and then we hit the amazing viewpoint to the, I think it's the northeast. What a viewpoint! One of the most greatest viewpoints I've ever seen. But also, it's unfortunate because it's been trimmed. Somebody has gone up there and trimmed it illegally. Our office said this before too. It's actually pretty far from the summit, so if you're going to try to get there, make sure you know your navigational purposes, because it's not easy to get to. Going from that area is complete bushwhack. So we summit, we sign in, we're on our way down. All of a sudden we hit this nice little area along the rim trail of Friday and Balsam Cap, and Ralph takes a huge digger, slams his body on the side of the rock, and continues to keep on with the conversation. It was insane.
No, it's like he was on a trampoline. He just bounced right back up.
Yeah, correct. It was just absolutely insane. He comes right back to the old conversation that we had. And I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, are you okay? Oh my God. Did you break a hip? He's like, I'm fine. By the way, and he goes right back in the conversation.
Yeah, no, he was like, I'm perfectly fine.
I'm perfectly fine. I'm okay. Nice. That was good. Robin Williams quote right there. If you don't understand, check out Robin Williams live. But once again, hiking with Ralph is just unexplainable. If you ever get the chance to go on a maybe a club hike that he's on, or ask him to go on a hike, it's like a whole nother experience. You get the history of the Catskills, you get the legend of the Catskills, and then you also get the comfort of hiking with a person who is just an absolute amazing human being. There's never been a hike that I've been on with Ralph where I haven't enjoyed it thoroughly and I haven't been smiling the whole time. It's just, I don't know. John probably has other thoughts about that because he hates hiking, but
well, yeah. I mean, it's always a pleasure to climb with Ralph, but yeah, no, I've been on some tough ones with him too. The toughest ever.
Yes. Okay. So let's break into that. Another bushwhack hike that John and I have been on that I shouldn't have taken it on. So this was an error on my part. So a couple of friends of mine wanted to hike Slide Mountain, go down into the call of Cornell and Slide, and then hike along the skirt of the slide and look for a plane crash. Very crazy hike. And, I asked John if he wanted to come along, and I kind of peer pressured him in to coming along because these were all legend people. We got my friend Joe Ferry, who's on the search and rescue team, Ralph Rhinedeck, Tom H., who I've been on a couple hikes with, and he's an insane hiker. There was a couple other people who were on that hike. There was a bunch of legends. John Perella, he was amazing at technologies, but he was fun as heck. So what our objective was, summit Slide Mountain, climb into the call of Cornell and Slide, and then skirt the slide of slides around there, and then go down into the Woodland Valley. It says 8 miles, probably around 5-6 miles of that was trail. But once you start bushwhacking on that slide, it's absolutely insane. So I brought Sean along because, we could use another hand. We're looking for a 4-engine plane, absolutely insane sized World War II, sorry, Joe, plane that is enormous. This would easily be spotted. And we have teams of, 4 people, because we had 8 people. So we had 4 teams at certain elevations. I think we were at 3,200 feet. There was somebody at 3,400 feet, 3,500 feet, and below us was 3,100 feet. We were scouring the terrain for at least some remnants. We hit a another plane crash near slide, which I will not talk about. So you're gonna have to find that information about yourself. So sorry. But we had different teams at different levels, and we were scouring I won't say the east side of slide, which is absolutely insane terrain. I don't even know how big the slope is, but it's insane. Once you start bushwhacking, it's boulders everywhere, holes everywhere, moss everywhere, trees. I wouldn't say everywhere, but they're easy to help for falling. And probably a quarter of a mile into it, John wasn't having a fun time.
Oh, well, no, forget about it. That was the worst day I ever had in the mountains, period. And you know what? It was such an incredible crew. That was one of the most incredible crews I've ever climbed with. And, I got upslide just fine. And it wasn't until we started doing the side hilling that I began to struggle. Yeah. And Joe, and I love Joe. The guy makes great wine. But he had told us we are going to all, because as you said, we split up into groups at different elevations. And we had agreed to meet at the rendezvous at 90 minutes. So I'm psychologically preparing myself for 90 minutes of side hilling.
Hold on, John. Hold on. Keep in mind, this is 90 minutes. I think it was like 1.2 miles.
Yes.
Yeah, no way. Okay, go ahead.
So, we didn't actually meet for 3.5 hours. So I was beyond exhausted. And I kept falling into holes. It was almost as if I was post-holing. It was almost like it was winter. I kept falling into these holes in the ground that were just covered with a layer of leaves. And I think you should remember, Stash, at one point I began falling down the mountain backwards. I was literally just tumbling down it, spitting all over myself. And I actually had enough time to think to myself, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. I'll fall off the mountain. It'll be fine.
I'll die eventually.
I'm just gonna die this time. And I had left my job of 10 years 5 days before, and I was taking a month off in between jobs, and this sounded like the most fun thing I could do while I was in between jobs. But I learned at that point that I was in over my head with this crew because everybody was much more advanced than I was. Hell, when we met up with everybody 3.5 hours later, Joe looked like it looked like he was just warming up for another mountain.
But keep in mind that all these people were probably 20, 30 years older than us.
And people like Ralph, man, the guy climbs mountains every day of the week.
Exactly. And this was also my error in bringing John, because he had finished the 3,500, but he hasn't been on crazy hikes like this yet. So it was my error, of course. But halfway into that bushwhacker along Slide Mountain, I was seriously thinking that how am I going to get John out of here? Because he is slogging it slow as heck. I'm trying to feed him food and water to get him energy, but no energy was coming out of this. And I'm just like, how am I going to get him out of here? And then I'm like I dark red on me. I'm scared as heck. I'm just like, we're gonna have to cut trees down and helicopter him out of here. And we're getting close to the rendezvous point, which I don't think is accurate. I'm just like, man, this is probably off. We're not going to meet anybody. And all of a sudden I start yelling. I was just like, hey. And
we were the first.
Joe was there. Joe was there with somebody else.
Right.
So Joe was there with somebody else, and I yell, hey, and he yells, hey, back. And I'm just like, I look at John, I'm like, oh my God. We like run over there and we meet them. And I'm just like, you guys the only two so far? He's like, yeah, we made it over in this amount of time. Like, dude, it's been 3 hours, an hour and a half, my ass. And it was just poor calculations, but you know what? It was unexpected terrain. We met though that one point. Remember when we met Ralph and who was he with? Ralph and maybe John at that like 90-foot waterfall?
Yes.
Oh my God. Moss waterfall on the side of Slide Mountain. guaranteed maybe like 2 or 3 people have been to in life in the whole history of the Catskills.
Yeah.
Oh
That
man.
looked untouched.
Yeah.
And, even Ralph that day, that's the only time I ever saw Ralph slightly tired.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ralph looked at us and he said, "This is the most horrible hike I've ever been on in my life." And I'm just like, I'm like, Joe, take note of this, buddy. I'm just like,
yeah, right. You tired Ralph.
yeah, exactly. And so the funny thing is Sean's just like, "Oh yeah, we're at the rendezvous point. We only have this many feet." I'm like, "No, we actually have like 2.5 miles left."
Yeah.
Complete silence after that. And he like looks at me with a deep stare, like, "I'm gonna slit your throat." And I was just like, yeah, at least it's all downhill. So
right.
The funny thing is we hit this one spot and Ralph just says, "Screw it, I'm going over this way." And we just all follow him. And I'm just like, I'm following the man of the moon hall.
Yeah. I was thankful for that.
Yeah. So we got out of it alive, but my God, I mean, this will be memorable for life.
So we got some of the best pictures ever that day. And the plane crash that we did find was incredible.
Yeah. Everybody was what a great positive energy of all the people in that group.
It was the most difficult climb I've ever been on, but honestly, I'm glad I did it. Totally worth it.
I was going to say, you've probably done a climb that very few have. And you know what?
And I did it with legends. So it was totally worth it.
Exactly. And that's why I go on hikes with Joe a lot. God, I hate his hikes that he takes me on. He has taken me on some insane hikes, which I will always scour in his mind that he's taken me on some hikes. But you know what? They're memorable hikes. And this was definitely a memorable one. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So let's go into quickly about Catskill High Peak. So John and I, this was my first right before my first meeting ever as a 3,500 committee member. I was super nervous. So John, I'm like, "John, I have the full day. Let's get together and we'll do Catskill High Peak for you. You gotta take it off your list. I'll lead you up the South Access." So at this time, you go up the trail and then you hit the snowmobile trail. You take a left and then you hit the massive cairn. At that time, John could see the massive cairn because it's actually well established. After that, I think like a couple months after that, they took down that cairn. This cairn was, how many feet do you think that was? Like 6.5, 7 feet?
At least.
Yeah. Could easily mark where you're going to approach the south access of Catskill High Peak, which is one of my favorite climbing spots in the Catskills. Definitely requires some excellent climbing skills.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. Definitely almost some scrambling. Almost, you get a quarter of the way into the hike and it starts some scrambling stuff.
Yeah, but that last stretch right before the summit's one of the most incredible things you could ever see.
Right? You have to pull yourself up end over end. It's definitely one of the best hikes in the Catskills, one of the most memorable hikes in the Catskills. You pull yourself up this top part. Just remember, proper foot gear. Definitely do this in the more of the summertime, not in the winter. Winter is insane. It would be insane with the ice. Do this in the summertime. If you're going to go to South Access, definitely research it. But it's absolutely a phenomenal time. You pull yourself up and you come out right on top of Hurricane Ledge. Beautiful, one of the most beautiful views in the Catskills of the amazing Devil's Path. And then you can see some burrows range in the back. I'm pretty sure you can see slide and stuff like that. But wow, what an amazing time.
Absolutely. Actually, my favorite picture of me climbing in the Catskills was taken by you on that hike right before we hit the summit.
We hit Hurricane Ledge.
Yes.
No summit. Summit's a little bit further up. It is.
Okay. Yeah, the first viewpoint. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and then you climb up to the summit, and then we went down to the second plane crash, and we hit the second plane crash, and then I was just like, well, might as well bushwhack from here. We started bushwhacking, and then we hit some massive amounts of nettles.
Yes.
Were we in shorts at that time?
I was.
I
You
think
may
I
have
was.
been. Yeah. I think we both got them.
I
I
told
was.
him, I'm just like, just forget about it. Stop worrying about it.
Yeah, you can't even think about it. Just I think that I was just spitting water into my hands and wiping my legs too. It
Yeah.
helped.
It wasn't that far. It was like a quarter of a mile to the snowmobile trail,
Yeah.
but it was a complete bushwhack right after you get to the plate. I don't know what it is like now. I haven't been there up there in a couple of years, but um, we hit that area and then bushwhacked down and it was complete nettles. It's a horrible area, by the way.
Well, we also did 2 plane crashes that day too.
Yes, the one on the snowmobile access and then one off the summit, which was pretty crazy. So, and then after that, I had my first 3,500 club committee meeting, which was nerve wracking, and I was sweating like a sick dog. But
Right. And I had the day before I did the Cater Skill High Peak, I did Big Indian with Jeff. So I was kind of like Ralph that week, doing 2 climbs consecutively.
we should probably talk about that Big Indian. What happened on Big Indian, John?
Um, Big Indian, we hit the that's where you pretty much if I'm correct, you hit like a 90-degree wall.
No, you do not.
Oh, am I right? Is that Indian Head?
Yes, that is Indian Head. So I'll start this over. I'm Big Indian, John. You sent
Pretty
me a
gradual.
message. You send me a message.
Oh, I remember now. Okay. At the summit, right? I couldn't find the summit. Yeah, I couldn't find the summit. So, and thankfully, it was one part of the mountain I had service on because Jeff, who my friend who I was climbing with, who had absolutely it was no help at all. So I had to, I was calling Stosh from the summit of Big Indian to ask him, well, not from the summit, but from about 200 feet below the summit, asking Stosh how to get to it. And yes, then when Stosh, you had asked me where I was trying to explain it. And that's when we figured out that I did not even begin to take the route that you had told me to. I took the complete opposite route up.
So everyone, I told John to approach this hike from the Biscuit Brook area from Route 47. Yet he approached it from the Seeger Trailhead. He called me. Well, he sent me messages asking me where the summit is, and I'm just like, well, if you hit the trail, you should take a right, and there should be a herd path. And he was confused as heck. And I'm like, where the heck did you approach us from? He's just like, I'm pretty sure it was a parking area that was at the end of a road. I'm just like, I told you approach it from the opposite side.
Yeah. I pretty much told him, like, look, I'm standing in an area of the Catskills with a lot of trees and things like that. It smells like pine cones around here. Where do I go? But you know what? I'm actually glad that happened because that was the very first time that I ever had to be totally dependent on my own ability. And I knew that I'm way too close to the summit now to stop. So I was happy to find it.
Yes.
I was nervous there for a while.
Yes. And then what you realize after that you can't depend on good old Jeffrey.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to be climbing with Jeff, I just have to understand that I'm in charge of the climb. So I got to have all the info.
Or you got to take all the advice you can get from Stosh.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff's not easy to climb with too, because he refuses to get the proper gear.
That's true. And let this be a lesson that the proper gear might be expensive, but it's well worth it. Just an FYI. But yeah, that was a funny time. So good old John on Big Indian. Oh, so what else do we got, John? What else did we bushwhack? Oh, so let's talk about good old Rusk.
First one or the second one?
The second one, where
my knee hurts.
My knee hurts. What was that?
Oh,
my knee
actually, both times I've done Rusk have been nightmares. So
it's one of my favorites.
Although Rusk, the first time we did Rusk, we got trapped in that storm. And
oh yeah,
I have to admit that that storm was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
All right. So let me rephrase what we're talking about. So John and I decided to do Rusk. I don't like to follow the herd path. Am I correct, John?
Right.
So the herd path is a little bit off to the right of the second stream to the left. I don't like to do that. I like to go complete bushwhack. So I went over to the left. We hit some steep ledges, which was awesome, was fun, great. You know, it keeps you entertained. It keeps you energetic. You keep going. We get up to the top. We sign in. I look into my app, and you know what's good is Colonel's chair is right there, so you get service. I look on my phone and I'm like, John, we're gonna hit some rough shit right now. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm just like, we got some storms coming. I don't know if we'll beat this. We got to hurry down the mountain. So we start skirting down the mountain quickly. And I say, we're skirting down. We're probably a quarter of the way down. And I seriously yelled at him like it's a movie. And I'm like, look, over off to the west is a massive wall of white. And it's not snow, it's rain, pouring rain, absolute downpours. And John just looks at me. What'd you have, John, again? Ian, garbage bag, correct?
Oh yeah, I put a garbage bag over my pack because I didn't at that time have the proper equipment. And I mean, I may as well have not have done it. It didn't work at all. Flew right off.
Seriously, this was a massive wall. It looked like seriously ice that was coming towards you, probably at like 20 miles an hour. And it was a good 2-3 minutes of absolute downpour rain. Felt like a waterfall. Felt like you were below Caterskill Falls. Absolutely amazing experience. I cannot forget this ever in my life. And like, I'm just like, right after it ends, Johns looks at me and you say,
that was awesome.
It was.
You know, I remember when you said, look, you screamed, look, and I turned around and there's this, it was almost biblical, the wall of water that was coming toward us. And I remember thinking, there's no way of escaping this. So I may as well just stand here and watch it because it's that cool, because we're about to get drenched. But yeah, trying to avoid that, I had the worst ankle roll of my entire Catskill career. Like I think that was the one that just did my ankles in.
I don't remember that.
I was on the way down. It was, I rolled it pretty bad. I had bad luck on Rusk.
Rusk is beautiful though.
But that hike too, though, that was the only time I ever hiked with you where I saw you have to take a break. Not so much, you know, it wasn't a regular break. It was you had to stop because you were just too tired. And I remember
do a hike the day before.
I think the day before, and I was worried because I remember thinking like, you know, if he goes down, I have no idea what to do here. So
I can't summit.
Yeah, right. This is a bushwhack. I don't even know where I am. But no, you know, you bounced back. I just needed a couple minutes. It was just the only time that you'd ever done that.
Yeah, that was a great experience. I remember seriously, we were at the summit and I looked at radar and I was just like, oh shit. I'm like, we're gonna hit some heavy stuff. And I remember hearing thunder, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we could see the storm in the distance from the summit.
Yeah. Well, a little bit off of the summit. I was just like, dude, that's it right there.
Yep.
And then
we were going down fast, but we didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then the second time that we did Rusk, man, I almost took a year off after that climb.
All right. So I told John that we were going to do, what were you going to like twin and Indian head or twin or Indian head?
Yes. And then the last minute it changed to Rusk.
I don't know why. Seriously, I don't, for the listeners, I don't have a list. The only list I think I have left are the winters. And I really don't care about that. I don't care about a list. I hike in the winter. I hike in the summer, in the spring, in the fall. I really don't have a list to do. I did my 3,500 and I'm just hiking every week that I can, whenever I can. So a list is not really, does not matter for me. So At the last second, I was like, dude, let's hike Rusk. I'm gonna lead you over to the ledges on the southeast side. And he's like, okay. And we summit, we sign in, and then I'm like, okay, so we got to go west, and I'll lead you over to the ledges of the west. It's only a half a mile through some thick saplings and prickers and brush and all the above. And John is really not having a good time. And I took a greatest picture ever that I ever remember. And I made a meme out of it. The greatest picture ever. I'll post that on Instagram and Facebook, by the way. Sorry, John.
Was it the okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Not the okay on the downward of North Dome, though. That was a good one, actually. That's another good one. Jesus, we have so many bushwhacks to talk about.
We do. There's North Dome Fir.
That wasn't that bad. Fur wasn't that bad.
Double Top.
Oh yeah, Double Top. Oh wow.
Southwest Hunter.
R.I.P. Double Top. Wow. So let's get back to Rusk. I'm leading him to there's a certain set of ledges over to the southwest of Rusk. Awesome, beautiful spot of Spruceton Valley. And you can get a great view of North Dome, Sherrill, West Hill, and maybe part of Hunter. So I lead him to this area, which is ripped up by thick prickers and thick brush and stuff like that. We get to the viewpoint, and he's just like looking at me, and he's just like, well, what are we going to do from here? And then all of a sudden, like, his ankle hurts.
It was my knee.
His knee hurts.
My knee.
What was that?
It was my knee hurts.
Well, then your ankle's going to hurt because you're probably going to hike down Rusk Mountain. So at that time, I'm just like, well, John, we can go back and summit and then climb back down. Or we have the option of going down this absolute steep area and then bushwhacking across and side hilling Rusk. Or since I have a little bit of service, I can call West Hill Brewing and ask if I can hike on their property, get the hell out to get my injured friend out of this area. So I called West Hill and I was just like, can I hike on your property to get this guy out because he is injured and he's just a big wuss and a big sissy, to get him out of there. Of course, they approved, and we start hiking down, and he is so far behind me. My God, I forgot how many feet. You must like 200 feet behind me.
It was embarrassing.
But we're also going through a massive amount of nettles and shorts. And John was not prepared for the nettles and shorts. And he is just itching his knees and legs and shins and everything.
This is gonna make it sound like I don't even belong in the Catskills at all. But no, yeah, that was the beginning of my knee troubles.
That's true. That's true. In your retirement hikes.
Yeah, that was another retirement hike.
John likes to have these retirement hikes on every previous hike that he's been on since the 3,500 completion.
That's it. I'm done.
I'm out of this. But we had to hike through there. So we get down to the road, and I try to tell John is out of it. Like, seriously, he's delusional.
Oh, I was.
And he's ready to be ended with the hike. And I'm just like, all right, so we're on still the West Coast Brewing property, but I don't want to make a scene. So I want you to jump out of the brush and hop onto the road like you've been walking the road since from North Dome. And I'm like, are you ready? He looks at me and he's just like staring. I'm like, are you ready? He's like, yep. So I hop out on the road. He's still sitting in the brush. I'm like, John. He hops out on there. So he finally gets out of there. I'm just like, Jesus. Road walk back was probably like a half a mile, and it was treacherous. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, there was a lot of construction going on a bridge nearby that I remember.
Yes.
For that hike. And yeah, it was bad. You know what was sad about that was I knew walking on that road on the way back that there was something seriously wrong with my knee, and I knew I was done for a while, and I was very depressed about it.
Yeah.
Because as much as this may sound like I'm a dunce in the mountains, I do love it up there and in all of them, and it's depressing when I can't get up there. And I knew I wasn't going to make it for a while, so
Yeah.
that's sad.
Yeah, a lot of times though, to our listeners, you got to realize that if you do have problems, take it seriously, because you get 3 miles into the hike and you hurt yourself. That is a serious consequence that you might have on yourself and upon first responders.
Yeah, and if you get hurt, tell someone.
Yeah,
Because the first time I ever got hurt, I was almost ashamed that I got hurt. I didn't want to tell you guys. I'll never do that again.
yeah, exactly. As many times as hopefully with someone you have that you're hiking with will notice your bad times and will look at you and be like, okay, so this guy is not having fun. We need to turn around. I've noticed that several times with John. I've noticed that several times with my wife.
Well, it's not that I'm not having fun. I am. It's just I got to get my lungs have to catch up, and for
knees.
and knees for some reason too, and I don't know why, but the first hour of every single climb is really difficult, and for some reason with me that never got better. But once I got past that first hour, then suddenly I have a ton of adrenaline to finish. The first hour is always tough. I don't know why that never got easier. And before I forget, Hawk It. That was another one. That was another bushwhack.
What? That wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad. It was just another bushwhack.
All right. So let's talk about actually North Dome and Cheryl. Really quickly. So we had a traverse. We spotted 2 cars, one at Shaft Road, which I love the name of Shaft Road, by the way. Shaft Road, and then we spotted another one at the Spruceton Road area. There was a little access area. It's not at Mink Hollow, but somewhere near there. And we were going to summit Cheryl and North Dome and then follow north to the Spruceton Road access area, which is a little spillway, I think, off of there. So John and I summit North Dome. We sign in. We go to the beautiful viewpoint on Cheryl. Stunning. John is lucky that he has a guy like me that knows these areas, because he would never seen this. And then we summit North Dome, like not even like 300 feet off the summit of North Dome. I lose my Fitbit. John, can you recap on that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you lost your Fitbit, and I instantaneously knew that it's gone forever because it's a black band that you have no idea when you dropped. But yeah, you were pretty upset about it. So I remember you went back up for 45 minutes looking for it. And you didn't want me to come with you. I don't remember why, but so I just kind of hung out where I was and waited for you to come back without it. And you did. You came back without it.
but the reason why I was worried that I lost it, tell me why.
The real reason?
Yes.
Oh, well, you were worried that your wife was going to be quite upset with you. And I understood that. So, I mean, I would have gone up there and helped you too, but I really didn't think we had a prayer in the world of finding this thing. That'd have been a miracle. And then you came back and you were kind of just like, yeah, I didn't find it. I'm like, yeah, I thought so.
And I tried so many GPS devices and everything like that. I like downloaded different apps to try to find it, and I couldn't find it. And I was just like, you know what? I'm stuck with this. She's gonna kill me anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, even I got to the point where I was like, I don't think he's coming back, man. I should leave.
I'm just gonna get out of here. I don't care. Yeah, so we did that, and we were like a quarter of the way down West Hill, or down North Dome, and then we still got another, like, I don't know, like a mile and a half, 2 miles left, and it wasn't that bad, but John wasn't having a good time. I took the greatest picture known to man, and I'll definitely post this on Facebook and Instagram, of a meme I made of John saying, okay.
You know, one of the reasons why and I'm going to actually blame this on Travis. I think I went into North Dome psychologically prepared for a bad day because it was Travis's hardest hike. So, or at least he told me it was his most difficult hike. So I went into it nervous already that it was going to be the toughest.
So, speaking of Travis, Travis has been on my friend Travis Hartwell has been on many hikes with me.
I love him.
Yeah, I love his hikes. I miss him. So Travis recently falled under the salary area. So he's basically sucked in. Boo to that. He's fallen under the salary area and he doesn't hike with me anymore, which is tragic. Oh well, you know what? I suck it up. I have new friends. But he has hiked a lot of stuff with me. And we went up Cheryl and North Dome the same way of Shaft and down to Spruceton. But we vacated the area right off of the view over the Woodland Valley campgrounds. And it was an absolute insane hike. We went down vertically, probably like a good 50 feet. He slipped and fell and almost like tripped over himself and hit a couple trees. Luckily, his his pack slammed up against a tree and it like kind of supported him. So, and then right after that, we hit the flat ground areas and we saw a bunch of bear scat and a bunch of flipped over rocks. And we thought we were going to die, but we actually survived. So it was good. Travis and I have been on a bunch of times together. Hopefully he can get past his salary crap and can get back on hikes with us, right? When was the last hike he had?
Plateau. Well, three of us. Plateau in 2019. God, 3 years ago.
What a loser. Everybody comment and say Travis is a loser, please. It'll be great. That'll be great. But once again, we come down from North Dome with John, and I take the best meme I've ever seen of John, where I take a selfie of myself smiling, and he's just looking at me and saying it with his face, basically saying, "Let's end this freaking hike now." I only had a quarter mile to go. I don't know, a quarter mile is a quarter mile.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to hike a quarter mile.
I don't know. But yeah, so once again, amazing bushwhack stories. I mean, my friend Joe said always hike with a friend. That is a great idea. Definitely a great idea. I've hiked a lot of bushwhacks solo. I'm sorry, but I'm a big solo guy. Tuesdays are tough to get a partner with. And then it's also to get a partner with that wants to do a bushwhack. Luckily, I had John with me a lot of those times. He probably will never hike with me with a bushwhack again. He's basically going to say, "What trail are you doing?" I'm going to say like Wyndham or Huckleberry Point, and he'll be like, "Okay, I'm good with that." Or maybe a fire tower.
Balsam Lake.
Yes.
No, but the bushwhacks, although difficult for me, have been incredible experiences. I did rate Rocky as my most difficult out of the 3,500 tally sheet hikes.
So I got to go back there again. I haven't been back there in a while. I plan on. So my wife is on our way to being trying to do a 3,500 this year. I don't know if she'll complete it this year, but she also wants to do a bunch of the bushwhacks as in a bunch. So I want to lead her Friday, Balsam Cap, Lone, Rocky, Table, Peakamoose. I don't know if she's going to be able to complete it, but I'm going to have John there with me. Right, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. When is this?
In the future.
Okay. Yeah. No, I got to be out of town at a conference.
Yeah, I got to shovel some snow in August.
I have to move rocks. There's rocks in my backyard. I have to move them.
You know what? I understand that. You know, that's already been said before. I understand that. You know, a lot of people move rocks in their backyard of 0.07 acres.
Upstate New York, we have rocks in our backyards. We got to move them.
Especially when he lived there for a couple of years.
We're in the Rockies.
I know. I've been the Canadian Rockies. By the way, I plan on doing the Canadian Rockies in a couple of episodes. By the way, John, I'm headed to Utah in a month or almost a month or so.
I know. I'm to watch your dogs.
37 days. Wow. Amazing. But yeah, so once again, John, I thank you for being on this.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. I plan on having you a little bit more. I like your integrity with other people. So hopefully you can be on the same level as I am, and we could be maybe become a co-host, maybe.
I would love that.
Okay, so you need to drop all that other crap you're doing.
Yeah.
And focus your time on this. We dedicate our time to the Catskills.
Right. No, I'm gonna put my notice in tomorrow.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Same here. I'm gonna forget everything I did and then work for nothing. Correct?
All right.
All right. So once again, I'd like to thank Scenic Rock Guiding, our sponsor. Thank you, Sarah, once again for donating to us. Thank you for your ladies who are doing an awesome job in the Catskills and the Adirondacks. You guys are so much fun. I love watching seeing your stuff. Thank you to the donors, the monthly donors, and the donors daily. Really appreciate your stuff. Thank you, everyone who is listening. Thank you, all the listeners. Subscribe on any platform that we have. I'm pretty available to any platform anywhere. Look me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we have a website. Also, Links Sis, I think that's what it's called. It has all the links available. If you have time, shoot me a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you use. Thank you very much, guys, for listening. Once again, I don't know what's going on before this thing, but thank you listening for John and my bushwhacking stories together that we've had together. It's been a fun time, John. Hopefully you can join me on other hikes, but you probably will not.
No, that's not true. I'm gonna use the Otsego Octat Spring Challenge to get into shape.
Yeah, that's gonna help. Elevation gain of 37 feet.
Well, no, Sleeping Lion. Hey, Sleeping Lion, that's like 150 feet.
Hey, you got the Roseboom Trail at 38 feet total compared to the 2,900 feet that you got to do Balsam Cap on Friday.
Betty Wilbur Davis State Park, that's like 4 miles, man.
Yeah, 4 miles and 28 feet of elevation gain. But I'm going to ask you to do a lot of the hikes with me and Jessica, bro.
Yeah.
You better be there.
I'll be there.
All right. Once again, thank you, everybody, for listening. Subscribe, review. Thank you very much. Have a good night. John, have a good night.
Thanks, sir. You too.
All right. Take it easy, brother.